Hello, this is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these wonderful people have agreed to come and play a game with me tonight. That makes me very happy. What makes me even happier is that I don't have to run it. I get to just be one player tonight. I don't have to be a whole town and an entire train and a whole western half of a continent. Woo, life is good for me. Let's talk to these wonderful people. Oh, Hero Forge got used. Pixabay got used. Behind the scenes Roll 20 is getting used. And I think that's it. Yep, that'll do. The people, because I want to get to this game already. The people. Let's start with Hellhounds 20. Hello.
Fuck.
We can come back to you in a minute if that's what we need.
No, it's it's okay. I got my link right here. Oh, I'm very tired. I am a dungeon master. I'm a PNG tuber. I'm an artist. I'm a gamer. I keep my eye on chat. That's it.
Yes, you do. Whomp. The bots fear you. There is a world where the bots put up their feet after work and go, "Oh, did you get sent to?" "Yeah, I did." "Oh, that explains the big bruise." "Yeah, I know." Right in the forehead every time. Oh, gone. It just says banned. Next. Thank you very much for that, by the way. That is a service you provide with vigor and skill. So thank you. Next, because it looks like they're still trying to get their links together. Sarah.
Yep. Okay. How many of these can I say in a breath? Let's see. So I have Tangor Productions. I am working on a project called Bravely Broken. I run the Thursday game of Deviant Futures. I am in the Sunday game as Bite, and I am in a new show called Afterlife Job Fair. That was all in one breath.
And that's how we know that you're a trained professional. Thank you for all of that. Next, we've got Shadow. Tell us all about your own self.
Hello, my name is Shadow, also known as the True Shadowmancer. I am a founding member of Desperate Dice Rollers gaming channel. Although we are not yet streaming, one day we are hoping to do so. As I've mentioned in the past, I'm currently in development of my own homebrew gaming world for publication. Still working on getting that one out there. You can also find me here Thursday nights in Deviant Futures as Witcha. And starting this Sunday, I believe, I will be joining the Starfaring cruise as Gerard St. Germain.
Yeah. I say, meaning mostly the GM remembering, saved you at the end of the last episode. Yeah, we were on the ship leaving, and it was pointed out that we had put you in the hold. So there you go. You owe them a thank you next week because we forgot you.
Easy to do when you're crying.
Oh, easy. It was like, well, to be honest, I probably would have left you behind anyway. My character is not very nice. Fun, but not very nice. The exact opposite of that. No, that's not right. Exact opposite of the second half of that. No, I'm just going to take that all back. A really nice person. No. We got to skip you. Because we got to come back to you because you're like never mind, wrong chair. So I take that back. And, which was na backwards. Next, we have Nick joining us this week after a stay in a much nicer city, I'm sure, last week. But thank you for joining us. What are you up to?
Oh, cool. I thought you meant actually real life last week. Last week was fun. And it was more the fun of, I'm very happy to be here.
I appreciate
But anyway, where you can find me is you can find me on the Discord. You can also find me on the Thursday game, currently playing. Sarah, what are we calling him?
The Ferryman.
The Ferryman,
yeah. We're calling him the Ferryman. Okay. See, the problem is he has a character sheet full of names. It's the worst thing. Don't do that to your character.
Anyway. Or your DM.
That's a frustrated GM. I got many names. I have many characters. I will let them all out.
Anyway, so I'm also here playing somebody who I'm sure will also drive that DM a little bit crazy. But you'll find that out in a little bit, unless it's on the overlay with what the full name is, and they have a little bit of a taste. But I'm going to let the whole character introduction show that whole madness.
Perfect. I love it. Speaking of
So-
character introductions and GMs and such, now I can do it. Data on the shirt says Batka.
Hello, folks. Your friendly marshal here, along with, of course, Deputy Hat. Deputy Hat refuses to show up. He's kind of camera shy. Can I? There we go. Deputy Hat.
Yep.
He only exists when he's worn. You can find me here on Tuesdays, running a game and, of course, trying to break players. Always a good time. You can find me for at least 2 more episodes on Saturday, wrapping up we've got the battle and then the what came after, right?
I think we're gonna do those on one night. I think.
On one night. Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Well, then, for one more session on Saturday in our lovely Harlequin Redux, which has been just absolutely fantastic. Although Jet's very pissed now.
Oh.
And then after that, of course, I'm probably going to need another game because I can't be too unoccupied or I'll be alone with my thoughts, and that's a terrifying thing.
Yes.
You can find me nowhere else, really. I mod a lot. I hide. You can try and find me, but I am very elusive. Sometimes, you can find me, my lovely, lovely wife and much, much, much better half streams as Blaze of Gloriosa. You can see her also in chat quite often trying to break Sarah. And that's everything for introductions.
Not trying, succeeding.
Succeeding. Yes.
There you go.
So with that, let's drop the introductions and move on to the other reason you're here. The other reason you are Tuck Dead Center. Because this is your game, so go.
All right. Well, when last we left our intrepid adventurers and bang, we had witnessed a number of quasi plans being formed. Lester had made some introductions as an itinerant gambler, trying to get a feel for things and trying to make things less suspicious if he's going to join a table with the conductor and the head of security. Elizabeth had also made their acquaintance with a drink and a bit of flirting. And then Vixen, of course, had scoped things out, looked at the various paths that the guards took, just making sure guard rotations are known. For some reason, Bang decided to shoot a piece of ghost rock at the treasure cart, which caused some, random screaming. Never a terrible thing, but
Yeah.
Random screaming. This was, of course, after a bath and a new suit and many other things that make Bang at least relatively fit for general consumption.
Yes.
And before we get to everybody who's already been here and kind of settled in, we're going to turn our attention to an outdoorsman. A man who needs no introduction because I don't know enough about him to do one. Edward Edelweiss. Edward, what have you been up to, my good friend?
Oh, what have I been up to? That's the wrong accent. That's the one for Thursday. Cowboy.exe is restarting, so we'll get back to that and just do stuff without an accent. It'll show up eventually. Anyway, so what have I been up to? So me and my sister, we run a business, and she told me it was a really important client that that we needed to attend to. Said something about a healing poultice. Yes, it was the healing kind. Don't give me that look. Anyway, it was something about, ghost rock poisoning, needing something to, handle it. That's fine. Anyway, so she sends me out to find the proper herbs. I needed to cultivate them, so I knew about where they were. So I get them together. I get back home, and Elizabeth's nowhere to be found. She's just gone. No note, no nothing. Moved out of our parents a while ago, so couldn't exactly ask them. Although, they do ask us to send a telegram or just to let them know that we're still alive. But anyway, that's just family business. Don't worry about that. Anyway, she's gone, which leaves me with the client. I'm not the talking type. If I can work with a plant all day and don't see a person, that'd be great. But no, so she sends, so this person, even worse, is all the way over in Colorado. So, okay, so board the train, pay the tolls, nearly get robbed twice. And this is what she's all supposed to be there to kind of watch my back. She's not there. She's off doing who knows what because she wasn't home. So after that, I hear there's a whole bunch of commotion. And you know what? Fine. If she's going to disappear, so will I. She'll show up in the house and she'll know how it feels to have somebody just kind of disappear on her. So anyway, I hear there's some interesting stuff going out in California, maybe some interesting herbs to look into. So I'm just kind of on my way there. Had to go south into Arizona, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
And I would say along that route is when you get the same note that everybody else gets to meet in Silver Lake, Arizona on X date. There's a train ticket for 2 days later wrapped around the invitation, which is a playing card.
That's today. Okay, guess I'll be late.
Outstanding. Well, the next day rolls around and you are a day late, but you still arrive. Like you get there in the morning. Train pulls up at another section of the station, nowhere near the Silver Baron, the nice new shiny awesome car that train that everybody's very interested in. You of course are allowed to disembark, and you head into the hotel. What you doing?
I'm just gonna start by seeing where the bars might be, figuring she's probably looking for a client or whatever she does on her free time. And probably not seeing anybody there, heading to the hotel.
Okay. Yep, you don't see her there, at least, definitely. Being at Boomtown adjacent and major train stop, there are a fair number of people in the bar at all hours, but none of them seem all that interesting. Most of them seem like all they want to do is nurse their hangovers, have a little hair of the dog, and just continue to be drunk and or miserable. So you get to the hotel, very posh, very nice, very new, brass fittings, real glass windows, a lot of the things that you don't necessarily see this far out are near boom towns. Obviously way more high class than most people are used to. But that's the hotel that it directed you to. And
Okay.
when you step inside, assuming that you do, at this point, the lady behind the counter who had to deal with everybody else yesterday just kind of takes one look at you and goes, "Yeah, you don't belong here, but you look like you meant to come here. So that room over there," she points to us, the kind of a salon, a meeting room off the main entrance. One diamond glass windows, highly polished, more brass fittings. It's a lot of shininess here. The doors are currently closed. There's one security guard, obviously security, big dude, broad shoulders, not perfectly fitting suit. Probably got a weapon under his jacket of some sort.
Yeah. So is it? Oh man, I just gonna head over.
Do you have your invitation, sir?
I show the card, still not really saying much.
Oh, please go right on in. The room inside has 6 very plush, like the red velvet chairs, like over upholstered monstrosities, the kind that look like you could probably sleep in it and it would be far more comfortable than any bed you've ever had access to.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Around a mahogany table, polished to a high shine, nothing on it. There's windows off to the east, just kind of, but they're colored stained glass. You can't really see through them. They just let different patterns of light in. And as the door closes behind you, out of the shadows in one corner steps an older gentleman, very well put together, although obviously advanced in years. Steel sort of gray silver hair, just barely starting to thin, clean shaven, which lets you kind of see a bit of sagging around the neck, the little folds at the ears that are around the earlobe that start to form when you really get on in years. Very distinguished looking gentleman in a cream colored suit with a cane with a silver knob on it. He strides forward, and it's give me a notice check. So I just want to see.
So is there a modifier?
No modifier, just straight notice check.
A straight?
And the wild die, the d6.
Yep, and the wild die.
Oh, it's a 6.
Wonderful. Well, then you can tell that while he's trying very hard and would generally fool your average person, it's clear that his movements are paining him. He's not really showing it outwardly, but you can tell a bit of tightness in around the corners of the eyes, a little bit in the jaw, just as he walks, despite the air of confidence and capability that he's trying to project, and still projecting pretty well. He's masking a great deal of pain and discomfort. And he smiles at you and gestures to one of the chairs and says, "Well, Mr. Edelweiss, I'm glad you could finally join us. Please do have a seat.
Yeah.
We have some things to discuss. I'd like to bring you up to speed, and then you can go do what siblings do, I suppose."
Oh, it was just me.
Ah. I wasn't informed that she'd be here as well.
Oh yes, I thought your talents combined would be quite helpful for this endeavor. Now, to give you just a quick rundown of what's happening, I'll try and make it a little more brief than I made it yesterday, because they've already conferred and made plans, and I'm sure they'll want to fold you into them. What's happening is I'm very old. I'm not trying to disguise it too much anymore. I've had a long and storied career. I have done many things. I've stolen many things. I have escaped from many places, and it has been it's been glorious. But I can't do it much longer. And so what I want to do is go out with one last hurrah, one last big job to hang my hat on, and to give some promising up-and-comers a start, a little boost to your name and fame, as well as, of course, a good boost to your pocketbook as well. Because let's face it, nothing helps you get started more than cash. Now, what we're doing here is trying to get something called the Heart of Thunder, which is a never-before-seen crystallized ghost rock, roughly in the shape of a heart. Incredibly rare, incredibly valuable, and I'm offering each of you $50,000 to liberate it for me. Now, the others already have the plans I could provide, and I think they've started to put things in motion, but let me go ahead and let me just summon everybody down here, whether they like it or not. He picks up a little silver bell.
You say liberate.
I just don't feel that the people who currently have it in their possession would appreciate it the way that I and certain clients would truly appreciate such a unique item. And of course, they realize this. So they have guards and an armored treasure cart and guns. They really don't want to part with it, but I've made a career out of not really caring about that sort of thing, and I kind of thought you and the rest would be interested in joining me in that. And so he just goes, tingle, tingle, tingle. And, a little merry little jingle, and the guard peeks his head, and he's like, "Would you gather the others from yesterday, please, and have breakfast brought in?" The guard just kind of nods, gives that kind of more deferential bow that, guards and security tend to give to people who have a whole lot of money and influence. Even if he's not sure who this person is, just the kind of, yes, sir. And goes to do that. Bang, Vixen, Elizabeth, and Lester, each of you has a knock on your door.
Ah, crap. Hide the spyglass inside the suitcase and go and answer the door.
And it's one of the hotel staff, in livery, a nice sort of nondescript, but obviously well-tailored outfit, vest over a white shirt, male and female, trousers. Everybody's wearing kind of the same thing. And for each of you, you're notified that you would be your presence is requested downstairs. Your patron would like you to meet one more person and to kind of go over what you did yesterday and have breakfast, of course, on the house.
Yeah, so I put on my new suit that's already got a couple stains on it and head down.
All right, so just because I find it amusing, Elizabeth is going to be the last one down. Everybody else gets to walk in.
Oh, I can tell you the minute that they said your patron wants to see you, I bet that's my brother. And she just sits back down. I'll wait a bit.
Oh, well then, all right, that definitely works. Everybody else, whenever you make it in, breakfast probably won't have been readied yet, but Edward will be there. Edward, would you give us a description of your character? What do they see?
Right. Like the short description is almost like a park ranger with jeans.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, like, even like, I know the Hero Forge model is like, on like the cleaner jean side, but it's probably there's dirt that if you knew dirt, it's from basically everywhere. Well, I mean, everywhere from around, it's still America, right? Even though there's still
it's still America, just a few key differences, but
there's still plenty of different dirt.
Yeah.
In a half a continent.
So yeah, it looks like he's definitely the outdoorsy type, and if you really pay attention to his gaze, he probably, as opposed to really seeing the room, he's probably paying more attention to the like mahogany table. But you can't tell if he's trying to figure out what he could do with it, or if it's just admiring like the wood itself.
Mm-hmm.
Either way. Well, when everybody except Elizabeth is in the room, Mr. Rackham will, of course, say simply, everyone, this is Edward. This is Miss Edelweiss's brother. Was unavoidably detained for a bit longer than expected, but he was also the last person that I invited for this little caper. So if you want to bring him up to speed, Edward, what are your specialties? I'd like you to share that with the class.
My specialty is an expert in what plants are supposed to do and making them do things they're not supposed to do. You want a bullet? Take a little bit of ghost rock on a seed, and you got something harder than steel itself. Put some gunpowder behind that, and you have a bullet that could pierce steel itself.
And it'll grow a fascinating new plant in the corpse. Recycling. Well, all right.
Haven't tried that one. If you got some corpses, I wouldn't mind, but that might be an after the job question.
I was going to say, give it time, given kind of the feeling I've got going on here. But then we just need Miss Edelweiss. And of course, while you're waiting, the food comes in. It's a pretty decent spread, scrambled eggs, bacon, ham, steaks, toast, fruit, fresh fruit, which is kind of hard to get out this way. Water, juice, coffee.
I know I was introduced as a Mr. Edelweiss or Edward. What are the rest of your names?
I wait till he's just about to take a drink. As the coffee cup comes in that uncomfortable silence where nobody's answering, just before he takes a drink, I lean in and go, bang!
Yeah, it definitely spills around.
That there, Mr. Elias, is Bang.
Holds up
My
the
name's
coffee.
Lester Moore.
Vixen has an unlit cigar rested next to their plate, and they've actually taken off their prosthetic leg just to get a little bit more comfortable. But they look over at you. Name's Vixen. Pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
All right, now,
Now that I've met the pleasurable acquaintances, where's my sister?
that is a good question. Is she always like dawdling? She seemed very punctual yesterday.
I don't know. Something about the dirt kind of repels her out of a room.
I'll keep that in mind. Let me send somebody else.
Oh, your pig pen from Peanuts. I got it.
Yep.
Yep.
By now she's already like coming down. She's basically just waiting outside the door.
Yeah.
Oh. Just like, how long can I get away with this?
There's a little bingle, a little jingle, and the door opens, and security guard peeks in, but they can see you standing outside now.
Yeah.
It's like, Miss Edelweiss, it's so good of you to grace us with your presence this morning. Please come in, say hello to your brother, have some breakfast.
And she'll refer to everyone else, and then get to her brother. Guten Morgen, Bruder.
Doing this again, aren't we?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that we remember who's the older one here.
And it sounds like you might not be the responsible one leak dishing a customer as you did, but bygones be bygones.
I told you could do it yourself. I've been telling you for months you can do it by yourself.
You're the one telling me we need to turn a profit.
And we do.
That's when you deal with the customers. Anyway.
John just seems entranced by the whole thing. He's just thoroughly, both hands on the cane. He's not eating. He's just kind of watching the whole little.
So I was told there was a plan.
That's right. There's a plan or two. And what I need to figure out is did you say you were a plant specialist?
I think some people would describe it as a mad botanist.
Mad botanist.
I think it up and he can make it.
So then he can help you with your potions and tinctures.
Yes, he does.
I mean, granted, without a plot of land's a little difficult out here.
And Mr. Idlewice, what are your skills with something like, say, a train engine?
Train engine? I mean, it doesn't take much to break one. The exact operations would take me some time to figure out.
How about rendering a bunch of guards useless for a short amount of time?
I mean, it aerosolizes some spores and you have some bad times all around.
Right, so Bang, can you use anything like that?
I mean, an explosive expert would go a pretty good way to figure out how to disperse a bunch of tiny things you shouldn't inhale.
You want little tiny bits of things all over the place? I am your man. At this point, you may notice that I was just I was waiting for a moment to sneak it in. I'm trying to get to that corner that he keeps disappearing into and coming out of. Can I, if I want to get to that, just casually cruising in that direction, not asking permission or saying anything about it,
Yes.
just very slowly heading in that corner.
he doesn't try and stop you. It's obvious he knows where you're going, but he does not try to stop you.
Yep.
And when you get over to that corner, it's a corner. There's no dust in it, but go ahead and give me an investigation.
Okay.
have that?
Notice? Is that the
No,
one? Oh, investigation. Right. So that's a 4 and a 6. Okay. Oh, that's a really good reason to need to re-roll.
Did you double one it?
I'm gonna burn a white trip. I double one it with the wild die and the regular die were both ones. So I burn a white chip and re-roll just the D4 because it can't get worse. A 2. So it's a fail, but at least it's not critical.
Yep. You don't suddenly expect him think he's a mole person, which is good.
Yes.
But you also don't see anything out of ordinary in the corner. It's just a little shadowy because of where the glass is and where the lights currently show. So
excellent.
Yep.
The absence of evidence is in fact evidence. That's all I need to know. I come back out of the shady corner and rejoin the conversation. So there was some talk about a plan.
Well, at the moment, we're still working on getting those keys so we can get a copy, gain access to that treasure car and that lock without having to do a lot of unnecessary damage.
Am I the only one that thinks if you were trying to take the most valuable thing in the world somewhere, you wouldn't put it in a thing called the treasure car?
I mean, it depends on how big it is.
Apparently it's about, and he just like this, it's like a kid who's never seen candy looking at a Pez this big. It's just, it's just that that's too much for him to process.
At which point, Mr. Rackham, of course, just it's about the size of an actual human heart, so about yay big.
Gotcha.
I'm in agreement with you there, Mr. Bang. But we don't know yet how bright these two gentlemen are or their sponsors. So I'd rather have the contingency of what's in front of us as to what we see covered as well.
I like the idea of a plan in depth. I was already thinking of a couple of things that we could go for a little ride and blow up the tracks a little ways out of town so they have to either stop or fall over. Either way, we got a chance. I got a plan to... Where's the least likely place you'd put something that valuable on that train? And like looking out the little windows of the saloon, I'm assuming we can see the train in the distance.
You can. It's blurry because it's because it's the
shitty windows glass. Yeah,
shitty Westwood glass. But yeah, no, you can see it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if I were in charge of security of such a valuable item, I'd be placing it someplace where I keep an eye on it the entire journey. And locked up in a car that I am not in. It's not going to be that place. So the question is, where is Mr. Security Chief going to be riding the train?
I guess my first question before any of that is, are we doing this while this train is still in town? Or are we waiting until it leaves town?
Ultimately, if we do it while it's still in town, they'll be long out of town before they realize that it's gone. We'll call that option A.
If I remember correctly, I didn't see the head of security return to the train.
Well, he's staying in the hotel, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
As is the conductor, which is why the part of the plan to get access to the keys is for Miss Idlewise and myself to infiltrate their card game, keep them distracted until copies of said keys can be made. And that will allow us the opportunity to at least try and get onto the train while it's still in town and verify whether or not this.
If we find a way to make those guards useless, incapacitate, and we get those keys, we could just sneak on board, search as much as we like. If we find it, we take it. But at least we'll be able to know if it's in the treasure cart or not.
Now, something does occur to me since we are in town at the moment. Honest John, is there a bank vault in town?
Is there a what? I'm sorry.
A bank vault.
Oh, bank vault. Yes, yes. There is a bank here. As a lot of ghost rock tends to pass through this area. There is a very sturdy vault for it. A lot of men with guns. The usual security you would expect for such high value items.
It does occur to me that the object of our endeavors may be locked up in that vault until the train is ready to move.
That is a distinct possibility.
Now, I'm going to take a guess you've done a little bit of reconnaissance on this prior to sending notifications out to this here group.
I have indeed. And what I can tell you is that there are several currently occupied strong boxes in the bank, 3 of which were only rented, as it were, since the train, the conductor, and the head of security have come into town. I wasn't able to get access to who those 3 boxes belong to, but I do know which boxes they are.
So we might be looking in the wrong place.
That is a possibility.
You gotta wait. We can test both those theories. I make a great big boom over by the train, and they all run over there, and while they're looking at that, I come running around the corner and make an even smaller, quieter, but more important boom at the bank.
That.
Oh.
Or
In and out, and by the time they get there, we're back at the train if we need to be, or back in our rooms and acting all innocent.
or one of us could rent one of the remaining boxes just to get access and figure out what might be in there.
You live in a whole different world from me.
Mine has might fewer explosions in it than yours does.
I believe Edward and I could possibly get a box since we are business owners.
You know you're not allowed to put your brother in the box, right?
He's far too important to put him in a box.
Well, that is certainly an option.
But that's just another in a many largely piles. Look at all my words that aren't working. The endless concussions from the explosions sometimes make it talk too hard. But anyway, we got to have a lot of plans because we don't know shit.
Well,
I mean,
as we
as far
narrow
as-
these down,
figuring out where people might be or what's important. If the guards weren't told where the heart actually is and that it's only on the train, they'd protect the train. And so we'd only need to know where head of security goes.
We need to make some, out of character. We need to make some booms and see who runs where. That's what we really need to do.
Oh yeah. Actually, that was Elizabeth's thought, was to turn to Bang. I wonder, How big of an explosion can you make that doesn't cause any damage over by the bank? And we'll watch where people run to. Either guards or police or.
You want me to blow up the bank or the train, or then the train and then the bank, or then the bank and then the train, or what?
I think we do the bank first. Because if it's at the bank, everyone's going to run there anyway.
But wouldn't they run there anyway because it's a bank and all their money's in it?
True.
I think explosion near the train, or at least between the two.
And then some people watch to see what happens there. And then the explosion at the bank, we break in and add bank robber to a list of our CV items.
Couldn't we have an explosion at both and see where specifically the guards run to?
Oh, I planned on having both. It was just a matter of which one first.
But I mean at the same exact time.
Oh, like that stupid thing where they put the dog between two people and then both run away and see who the dog follows?
Exactly.
Oh, I hate that.
Not that familiar with properties of Ghost Rock, but Mr. Bang and Mr. Leaderwise, it seems to me that two of you have a bit more intimate understanding. Is there any way to tell if Ghost Rock is present somewhere without actually having to see it? Does it have a smell, or does it leave a trace of itself behind?
I know normal Ghost Rock has, a bit of a dust to it, but our person we're working for seems to indicate it's a different structure entirely, though still made of Ghost Rock.
Yes, he did.
So it's
He said
gonna-
it's crystallized.
Yeah, it's going to give it almost completely different properties, unless our patron happens to know how it's the same to normal Ghost Rock.
Ghost Rock talks to me. We'll be fine.
It
Is
talks
this-
to you.
So, did it talk to you
Start
louder at the
patting my
when you're at the
pockets.
train,
Yeah.
or
It started talking to me years ago.
I think what they're asking is, has it spoken any louder or in a different tone or such since you've been here?
I've been pretty careful not to let it see what's in the train, so I'll have to leave them at home and make up an excuse and go out tonight and see if I can go over by the train and smell anything. I can do that when I'm blowing stuff up, though. 'Cause after I finish blowing stuff up, you're sure as hell not going to be able to smell anything over there.
Weirdly enough, Vixen is not questioning any of that.
I'm waiting to see what Vixen actually does when this mission starts because they've been so non-committal.
This character is built for one thing. It's got one stupid job in this
Oh, no,
group, and
that's-
they're gonna do it.
Your job is, when things go wrong, you become the absolute safety net. And things are gonna go wrong. These are not good plans.
I can offer ideas.
so? Seems like we need people to be looking. I'm somebody who looks like they should be looking at plants, so I can also keep an eye out for people as they go by.
I can keep an
It'd
eye
also be
out
no-
from a distance. At least just watch
A
and see
thing or
what's
two,
going
but-
on.
We have a number of options available to us.
And as
I
if they
agree.
haven't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I agree that lighting a fire and see who rushes to put it out is a good way of getting an idea of how the security works. I also still feel that having a conversation with the conductor and the head of security will help narrow down some of our options. and getting a look inside of that vault will help narrow them down a little bit further. So, with that in mind, Miss Otterwise, Mr. Otterwise, would you the two of you care to scout out the vault and see what the layout might be? Mr. Bang, would you mind prepping some of your party crackers? Nothing too big, just something that would get someone's attention. Big enough that it does get their attention. And Miss Vixen, I'm going to take a guess that you'll be ready to make hell pay when it comes to visit.
She's just gonna smile and put her cigar in her teeth.
In the meantime, I think I'm going to have a nice, polite gentleman's game of cards with our two monks and see what information I can pull out of them to assist each of you in your endeavors.
Before she leaves, Elizabeth will check her pockets. Edward, which one of these again makes people talk more openly? I don't want the one that gets their tongue to swell up and them to fall over. I want them to actually talk this time.
The thing you gotta look at is the lead. Problem is, same plant. It's the one that has the slightly more violet color to the oil.
And she'll pull up two purple ones that look almost identical. Which one is it again? I can sell them day and night. I just can't tell them apart like you can.
Let me guess, you did it indoors, didn't you?
I forgot again.
Okay, the one that turns more purple fluoresces under ultraviolet light. So you got to be outside or in sunlight. Technically moonlight too. Moonlight can do it.
So she'll go over to the window and hopes that it works.
All right,
Stained glass for 50-50.
I'm gonna make a little roll here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's see. This one's entirely.
I didn't even know I had any OCD in me, but part of me is going, labels, Elizabeth, labels.
Labels don't help if you're foraging.
It works. One of them definitely takes on a sort of brighter, almost glowing nature in the sunlight.
Thank you, Edward. And she'll put it down in front of Lester. Just make sure that you put this in their drinks. They'll be singing like canaries, but in no time.
Use it, Rash.
Turning back to Honest John, you have a young lady that can bring drinks to the table with some of that tonic in it.
I was just gonna offer to handle that for you. I believe the original plan was to have Miss Edelweiss handle that, but as plans have changed, I do happen to know a lady or two who, for the right price, can be convinced to deliver 3 drinks to the table or more and make sure that the right drinks get to the right people.
Well, then, sounds like we have a plan. We just need to put it in motion.
And I know it's just a little after breakfast, but I do have word that both the conductor and head of security have already decided to start playing their games.
Well, in that case, that is my cue. Ma'am, gentlemen, rise from the table and leave the room to head to the poker room.
Before anybody leaves the room, Vixen is going to stand up with her leg now attached. Go, remember, we're on a time limit. They're going to be leaving someday soon. Don't take too long.
We got 24 hours from right now, right?
Yep,
'Cause it was
tomorrow
36 hours
morning.
from last night, so yeah.
Yeah, we're on a time limit.
How
Only as long as
busy
it takes me to lose
I get
$200, ma'am. And I can be as quick or as slow as I need it to be.
And
What's the train schedule like in this town? We've been here like 12 hours now is.
Several other trains have come and gone from
Okay.
different parts of the station. This part by the saloon has obviously been sort of partitioned off for display of the Silver Baron. You know, the new flagship, super comfortable, super high end. You know, not quite coast to coast train, but fairly close, as close as you were going to get in this time period.
All right. In that case, while they go and do that, go back to the room, change into my slightly explosive resistant clothing, put all my shit back in my backpack, back into the full bang mode, and go and rent a horse. And I'm heading out. I'm going to leave town a different way, but then I'm going to curve around and follow the tracks the way that we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for a trestle. It doesn't even have to be very big, but just a wooden trestle somewhere.
Yeah, you eventually find one.
Okay. I'll let these guys do their thing. I'll let you know what I'm going to do there in a minute. That's my plan. So I got to go get a horse and go do that. That's my day.
Alrighty, so Lester's going to go gamble. Bang is going to go start setting things up to explode. Multiple explosions. He must be just super happy right now. Vixen, you were going to go get your advantage to watch and see where people scuttle to.
Yep.
All right, so that leaves the family Edelweiss.
Yep. Well, yeah, the explosions I was going to do after I got back, because these guys are going to gamble all day, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was going to wait till night to do the explosions. So I went this all day and then that, and when I get back.
Okay, so
Yeah.
aiming for the evening explosions, a nice leisurely dinner time boom.
Well, I want these guys to get the key, right? I don't want the last thing I want to do is set off an explosion in the middle of their game before they've stolen the key. So I would wait till they come away from the table with all their shit done and then go in.
Point of order, I think they stopped trying to get the keys at this point. I thought Lester was going to get information and play cards, and then the explosion was going to be used to tell who's going where, and then try to get the keys after that. Because the Edelweisses are going to, unless you're planning to go to the bank and then come. I think the plan kind of came apart timing-wise at this point.
So, okay, I thought sort of first half of the day, I thought, I figured Lester would be gambling pretty much all day until this evening. And then I thought the Edelweisses had to go to their bank thing, sort of bank hours, sort of 10 till 2 sort of thing. And then I'd be back by then, and then we'd do the explosion in the evening, so it was easier to hide, but then we'd see where they ran to, because I was going to do both explosions. Yeah, we're going to do both explosions at the same time and see where they go to, right?
Bang's pretty much got it on the nose.
Okay. All right. Apparently it was I who was confused, and that is not a shocking thing at all. So
41 years of being a GM comes to the rescue.
Well played.
When my plans are so convoluted, I confuse the GM. I know I've succeeded.
We've done our job. Yeah. Yay!
Oh no, I'm never confused. Events simply arrange themselves so that I was right in the end.
Yes, precisely.
But all right, since Lester's going to be gambling for a while, before we have him do a gambling roll, let's go ahead and let's have the Edelweisses, if you're heading over to the bank together. Mm-hmm. You're going to get some odd looks when you wander in, because Elizabeth is obviously dressed nicely. You know, you were supplied with some nice sort of high-end, obviously bespoke dresses, and Edward still looks like he's been dragged behind a train through like 8 different states.
Yeah.
Unless you're having him like bathe and get a suit beforehand.
She would absolutely make sure that he looks like to the nines like a business owner, like she does.
Oh, okay.
Like, this has to sell if we're getting in that vault.
The river ran brown with his filth.
We are on a time now.
This is the dirt's my bona fide. It shows you that I know the business.
Don't worry, it's organic.
Yeah, it's organic.
Yep. Well, Edward does have a room booked for him at the hotel, and being that it's a high-end hotel, they can make sure he has plenty of hot water and a bath, and in his room will be suits roughly to his measurements.
And what I really should have told Elizabeth about is just in case I needed them. There's some plants that we had to take an outhouse, paint it completely black, because if these things see light, it's a bad time. And that's what I'm thinking I want to deposit, so these pockets better work.
The pockets will work just fine. They're good functional pockets. These are all really, really well tailored suits. They're just made to measurements, estimated measurements for you. So the pockets are fine. It just might sit slightly odd in the shoulders. The cuffs might be a little long, but they have the fold over flaps on the top, and they're fairly deep. And there's also, the near ubiquitous inside pockets.
Don't think my inside pockets are gonna hold, but I really need to keep safe, but it's fine.
You can always put it in a bag. I mean, you can wear a suit and carry a bag. This is not against the law.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to put my Kipper Dream, a Ghost Rock, in a bag that I bring with me to the bank.
All right. So a well-washed and better attired family Edelweiss makes it over to the bank, and the bank is as much as you would expect for something that's not quite a frontier town, but also not quite not a frontier town. It's got the big sign across the top, some big bay windows with iron bars on the windows, nice doors, some glass that looks nice, but when from a distance, but when you get too close, you can tell it's not great glass. It's not going to cost a lot to repair it or replace it. When you get inside, there's the teller. There's pretty much one long counter with a few teller stations, and behind the counter on the far side, near where you can see the little flip top to get back and forth from behind and in front of the counter, there are a couple of desks, and further behind that, there's a door with bank manager in very gaudy green paint, kind of gothic lettering. Somebody who obviously really, really wants you to know that right there is the office of the bank manager. And each of the teller stations is currently manned. 2 of the 4 of them are occupied. One by a little old lady with a tiny dog in her purse. The other by a somewhat rough-looking gentleman. Looks like it could be gunfighter, mercenary, maybe just a little down on his luck. He's having a sort of hushed and slightly angry conversation with the teller, who looks like she is entirely done with his shit and has been for the last 10 minutes. Not that has any bearing on what you need. I just wanted to make sure you had all the information.
What's the floor like?
The floor itself is polished. It's some sort of light colored wood, possibly pine. It's not an expensive hardwood, but it's something that you possibly won't notice a lot of scuffs in until it needs to be replaced.
So note to self, that's probably flammable.
Probably. A lot of things are if you try hard enough.
Everything's flammable. I'm not there. You just need to put enough fire on it.
Spiritually, Bang is there with you.
Yeah.
The fact that that's a consideration that he's making is just unnerving.
Right, one of the 2 free tellers looks up and kind of gives a little gesture. How can we help you today at the First National Silver Lake Bank?
Well, thank you for being so nice to us. We have some items to put into a safety deposit box.
Oh, yes, of course, certainly. Now, I will have to ask you to come this way. We just have a few standard questions we need to cover on that. Then, of course, there's the deposit and paperwork, and we can definitely get that taken care of for you. Please step down this way, and he just makes his way down to the little flip-top counter space and pops that over and gestures for you to head to one of the desks.
Mm-hmm.
Closes it
Thank
back
you.
down. takes a seat. Now the standard questions is what you're looking to store volatile or dangerous?
Looks over to Edward.
Define dangerous.
He looks a little taken aback that you're
What-
asking him that.
What I think my brother means, you see, sir, is our business is medicine. And sometimes when you don't make medicine right, it can be dangerous.
Or
What
you
I
properly
mean,
handle ingredients.
yeah. What I mean more is like, is it likely to explode, to spontaneously burst into flames, to release noxious fumes?
Only
That
if you don't know how to properly store it, which is why we were hoping to get a safety deposit box to, properly store it.
Okay. Well, of course, we're not going to ask the exact nature of what you're putting in there. But we will need to shuffle some papers together, puts a little form down in front of you, hands you a little pen and tiny, little inkwell. We will need to just take down some information. If you can just fill that out with your name. If you're doing this as for a business, of course, please put the business name in there. Roughly how long you think you'll need this safety deposit box for.
Oh, it's just for a couple hours. You see, we're getting on that fancy train out there. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Oh, well,
So we're gonna go celebrate. And we just want to make sure that these ingredients were safe for tonight.
Okay. Well, it's a couple hours. We'll take the price down a little bit. He looks a little sad, like maybe he gets commission for long term, but that is what it is. Okay. And so we'll be placing. Can you describe the nature of the item, or at least the container that the item or items are in that section there?
I kind of have it. I mean, I have it already. It's it just looks like a single leather pouch, but it's two leather pouches, one upside down in the first one, because in no way, shape, or form do I want this thing seeing light, because otherwise this thing's going up in flames.
Oh
So
no!
if an explosion rips it open, guess we're gonna know where the bank vaults are.
Well, then the deposit for a couple hours will be $5. $1 of that will be refunded to you as long as no harm comes to the safety deposit box from your items. And we had to institute that after somebody swore up and down that nothing was going to happen, and we found some very noxious fluids in the box afterwards. Turns out trying to hide evidence of a murder in a lockbox is not a great plan.
I mean, if I may give a word of advice, if I may, Elizabeth.
Of course.
In no way, shape, or form allow the contents of this bag to see light.
That shouldn't be a problem. We're gonna go ahead and bring the box over here, lock it, and put the item in, lock it in front of you, provide you with the key.
Is it all right if we have some privacy putting away the contents? I know he is very particular about keeping our family secrets for our medicine.
Well, absolutely. It's not like anybody could fit in the lockbox, so we're not exactly worried about that. And he takes the forms, and I kind of holds out the hand. You need to pay for the box. That's what he's. So one of you two gotta give me money.
She of course she does it. Of course, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes my mind isn't in my own head.
No, that's okay. No worries. Just takes the money and goes off and puts the forms in a little folder and goes off, and the vault is cracked open just enough for one person to get in and out right now, but also easy enough for somebody to push it shut should the worst come to pass, and slides in, and a few moments later comes back out carrying a lockbox about yay long, just pretty standard. If you ever seen a bank lockbox before, then you know what it looks like. If you haven't, use your imagination. That's why we have it.
Okay, then the lockbox is, you mean the shape of a boot?
Perfect. That's that's part of the first national Bank of Silver Lake. They're really trying to differentiate themselves from the second National Bank of
that's-
Silver Lake.
Remember that game? I think it was called Concentration, where you pushed it down and you had to put all the pieces in before it popped back up.
Yep.
That's their security system. You have to put all the boxes in the right shaped holes in the floor before it pops back up. Sorry, never mind.
Of course, in this case, if you don't do it
Back to
in
your game.
time, you're shot.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Instead of accidentally yelling the word shit in a family gathering when you're 5. Oops.
Accidentally. In either case, the boot-shaped lock box is put down, still big enough to, of course, hold the bag. There's a key, it's open. There's a key in the lock. He sets it down. It's like, I will just be over at my station. Just call for me when you're ready to have that put away.
all right, thank you. And she nods to Edward. And I'm fully believing that the next part of the conversation is fully in German.
Oh, of course.
I'm just gonna say my
in
German
subtitles in German.
Yeah. All right, so we saw them open up that door enough that if we need to, someone can shove their way in.
I mean, I hope you don't need that. I was like, no, I can move from sitting. If Ben does his job, he can be out the backside.
I'm so sorry. Your sound cut.
Well,
It
no,
kinda
it's
sounded
sounded
like
like
you were-
It doesn't help.
Yeah, it sounded like you were speaking Simlish for a moment.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So, I guess, do you want it to go off or no?
I think if it might help us if it does.
Hard part is, I can pour the bag in the safety deposit box, but I need to pour the bag into the safety deposit box in complete darkness. You see the problem?
She'll look back over to the person that was helping. I'm sorry. Do you have someplace that's a little more, less bright?
He looks confused, a bit of a. I mean, we do. I would have to kind of oversee at this point. Our file room doesn't have any windows. If you need to use that, like I said, I just have to kind of be in the area, so make sure you're not actually touching any of the files. That's the only dark place we have. It's a bank. We got windows.
I understand that. My brother wants to keep his bags, so that while on our trip he can collect more items.
You're not coming back for these? You said
Oh,
you
we
only need
will-
this
we
for a
will be
couple
tomorrow.
hours.
In a couple hours, yes. But at the same time, he needs
See what the botany's like before I head out on her birthday trip.
exactly.
Well, all right. If you come this way, he's a little confused, but you're paying customers, so and he's not paid quite enough to actually ask the deeper questions. So you're just kind of led past some of the tables. There's a door file room in black lettering, not nearly as ostentatious as the bank manager. Just making sure you remember the bank manager is there. I'm just gonna just open the door, kind of stay by the doorway. It's like you can go in, just kind of stay within view, and please don't touch any of the files. Everything is exactly the way I like it.
Of course, we don't want to touch anything of yours. We just want to make sure that this is done correctly.
Okay, then just kind of hangs out and waits. And it is very, very dark in there. There's a little bit of light coming in from the open door at this point, but you can get deep enough that it's almost total darkness, or at least as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
As long as there's not a candle or something, should be good.
should be good. You know what?
All right, let's hope this works now.
So I'm going to turn the lockbox facing the dark part so that even that light coming in the door doesn't go in. Gonna take out the first bag. So the one inside is kind of the one in the lockbox.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna open it up. Yeah, like with hand like as far into the lockbox as you can.
All right, give me an
There it is.
agility check.
Oh, you want
Here.
agility?
And that's how we
How
bring
bad
down
is-
the bank, Your Honor.
Just a straight agility?
Straight agility, you do of course still get your wild die.
Oh boy.
How bad does this go? How bad does this go?
That was a 4 or a 5.
Okay, perfect. You just you're just like "Wah!" In and out. You get them dropped in, you get it closed. There's no hissing, no sounds that would let you know you're about to spontaneously
embers.
combust.
Yes.
In, plants are in, close the box. Better lock.
Yep.
Cool.
All right,
All
there
right.
you go.
Elizabeth will come out very lightly holding this box, making it very clear that it's dangerous.
See, now I did ask you.
Well, you
If this
understand it
was-
can't see the light.
And you've locked it already? Is this
Correct. This is locked and
Ready for you, sir.
exactly. Just make sure it does not see those contents do not see the light.
well, I can't. You have the only key. Of course, I'm going to have to make a note of this because if you don't come back for these within a week, we're going to have to declare them abandoned and we'll have to open the lockbox by force. I just need to make sure if anybody does that, they do that in total darkness. There's no way that could go wrong.
As long as you don't make a spark inside that thing, you'll be fine.
Yeah, because trying to wedge open metal with metal doesn't make any sparks. He's just muttering as he wanders away with the lockbox. Well, was there anything else you needed help with, folks?
I believe that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing business with the First National Bank of Silver Lake and not the Second National Bank of Silver Lake, those bastards. And just wanders off and
course. We'd only choose the first.
first is the right. And he just kind of slides into the vault and presumably does his thing and then slides back out and goes back to his station. Kind of watches to make sure you get out
Mhm.
from behind the counter.
Yeah, we Elizabeth at least makes sure that she's like almost all the way to the exit by the time he's almost to his spot.
Okay, perfect. What were you doing anything else before getting back?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, then let us cut to our good friend Lester Moore, who has been at the tables for a while. Go ahead and give me a gambling roll right off the bat. Let's just see how you did. Unless you were, trying to lose or.
Well, am I at the table with the conductor and
Yes, there were some open seats. They're kind of high, they're fairly high rollers themselves. So not everybody's going to want to be at their table.
well, much as before, the idea is to be fair to middling
Okay.
and trying to make certain that, if I'm remembering correctly, the security chief lost to the conductor last night.
Correct. The conductor made it out with most of the money, the much bigger pile at the end of things.
Let's keep that lucky streak of his going.
Okay, so you're trying to do fair to middling and influence things to make sure the conductor's doing better. Give me that roll at a -1.
At a -1.
That's a little trickier.
A 4.
All right, you do it. The head of security is kind of glaring a little bit, but nobody catches you out at your manipulations and your play. And while you're doing that, a round of drinks is brought by a rather attractive young woman, in a dress that kind of, for this age and this location, makes it clear that she's open for business.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are quite welcome. This was sent by a gentleman who appreciated not being taken for everything he had. And both the conductor and the head of security look thoughtful for a moment, but obviously they both think they know who it is. They don't know who it is. And start sipping their drinks. You know, it's a top shelf whiskey all around. Very good in your case. If either of them had been paying more attention, they might have noticed the slightest of violet coloring to the brown, but they're not. So they both sip. I'm gonna do a little. Let's make a couple of checks here to see if that actually takes hold. No, you know what? Actually, let's make Elizabeth. I want
food coloring, and you could call it royal whiskey. You'd make a killing.
You could. Go ahead and make a. What role are we looking for here?
One small varietal.
Do you have ranks in your mad science? What do you use to make your potions?
Either healing or science, depending upon which way it's going.
This seems more science than healing, since you're not trying to heal anything. So give me a science roll at +1, since you had help identifying.
So then that's an 8.
Oh, that explodes! Very nice. That's 2 successes. Double success. This works pretty fast. And Lester, your first indication that the dosed libations are doing what they're supposed to is when the conductor goes, after winning a really big hand, he just laughs and he's like, "Oh, this is easier than taking your wife from you," or so I hear. And the head of security just goes, just looks thunderstruck. But neither of them really act like it's out of place. I'm just saying, part of this tincture is just sort of relaxing your idea of what should or should not be said.
Yep.
What is okay to say.
Especially in front of a stranger who's losing to them.
Yeah. The head of security just blinks for a moment and he goes like, "At least I had a wife. You gotta hire your..." And from there, things just kind of, unless Lester starts steering the discussion, there's a whole lot of dirty laundry aired as the game goes on.
Let's stir that pot and see if we can get one of them to let slip where that stone of theirs is.
Okay. What are you going to say to try and convince them of that?
Let's see here. My good sir, speaking to the conductor, I understand Lady Luck was in your lap last night as well.
Lady Luck was definitely in my lap. I thought a lady was going to be in my lap too, but maybe tonight. It'd be nice to not have to pay for it for once.
Oh, well, I don't know, sir. Rumors going around about what you have on that train of yours. I'm quite certain no one wants to get too close to you. Taunt.
Give me a persuasion roll on that with a +2 since they're drugged to the gills.
I actually have taunt as a skill.
Oh, well, okay, let's let it go at taunt. Well, give me a taunt at +2.
Well, I just exploded the dice 6, so give me a moment. With the +2, I got a 10.
Woo! He pauses for a moment, like a panicking look on his face, like he's trying to figure out what exactly you're talking about. Like there are multiple things that could be causing people to be nervous about being around him, before he finally goes, "Look, I promised I would not subject the train to my tuba solos this time. I swore. I have it on the train, but I just don't like to be without it, okay? I don't play that bad."
So tuba is a fine instrument as long as you're not strangling it to death.
Well, and at that point, Chief of Security's like, strangling it. By God, that man is hanging it and hanging from the bottom of it while he does so. And now the conductor kind of looks like he's going to cry. Like he's still there playing. He's not getting up, but he's getting a little misty in the corners. Like what he really always wanted to be was a tuba player, not a conductor. And he is just getting raked over the coals here. You can see his soul dying a little bit.
Is that why I hear they put a special car on that train just for him to play?
Oh, that wasn't for the tuba. God, if I find where he hid that thing, I'm gonna chuck it off the friggin' the train while it's in motion, possibly under the wheels. And, my tuba. The head of security's like, no, we got something far more special in there. Far more special than a tuba.
Something that special, wouldn't it be safer in the bank?
The bank doesn't have the guards we have. The bank's guards are just local boys with guns. More likely to shoot themselves in the foot than shoot somebody trying to get into the place. And there, the conductor. It's like, well, no, I put stuff in there. Why didn't you tell me that bank wasn't that secure? I put things in there. I put some very important personal things in there.
I'm quite certain that the boys there do their best. I mean, after all, it's a good place to put a tuba.
No, they're not going to put that tuba in the bank. They don't have safety deposit boxes big enough for the tuba. Besides, how can I make sure it's tuned if it's in the bank?
That's why you have that special call then, yes?
No, the chief security is just like, no, I just told you there's no tuba in there. It's not a tuba. Not a tuba. Not at all.
Of course not, Arnie.
It's where we're keeping the treasures. Very important things that actually need to be guarded. Tubas don't need to be guarded.
You don't want him playing the tuba, aren't you going to put it under an armed guard?
I would if I knew where it was. But I don't know.
It's not in the bank, and it's not in your special car.
It's not my special car, but we've got a couple of luggage cars. He's got it in his room and his own personal luggage, which they're not going to let me look at, even though I'm the chief of security. Then again, this fat bastard is probably just trying to smuggle in a bunch of cribs or something in his luggage.
I wouldn't put that on him.
And once again, he's like, I'm on a diet. I'm trying here. All right. Did you see my breakfast this morning? It was 2 pieces of toast, dry toast. I'm so fucking hungry. Now I want ribs. Thanks a lot, you dick.
I wouldn't say you'd want to get ribs in a town like this, but they serve a mighty fine breakfast here. Sure, that'd not do you no harm. I do declare there, Mr. Arnie, Lady Luck just seems to be in love with you this day.
Lady Luck certainly does. This bald fuck over here doesn't, though.
Well, I can't say I'd take too kindly to you if you were insulting my tuba playing either.
Yeah. And then he puts down a hand, and obviously he wins again. He rakes in some chips, and he's like, "Hey, can I get another drink? Another drink?" And the young lady nods. And I'm gonna make a roll here because nobody told her how many times to dose their drinks.
Didn't tell them how much to put in it either. Now that I think about it.
Nope. So
stoking the fire.
Well, all right. So before we get on with that, hypothetically, the family Edelweiss, what sort of effect would an overdose of this sort of truth serum have on a body?
Well, if the incorrect one leads to almost anaphylactic shock-like conditions, I can imagine that the overdose may
I mean, it drinks your tongue pretty good.
Yeah. Effectively, you can't keep anything quiet. Like those deepest, darkest secrets that you don't ever want to come out, that's what's coming out.
I mean, I was more going with the kind of start foaming at mouth just a little bit,
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
don't
to
think
be
I
hurtful
can
to me.
combine the two.
Yes. It's funny because
Rabid
that's actually what they
truth-telling.
did find out when they tried with the truth serums. They found out they could make people tell the truth, but they couldn't make them tell the truth that they were looking for. They would
Yep.
just tell them things that they believed for hours and hours and hours and then pass out.
Oh, all right. Yeah, the young lady comes back with a slightly more purple pair of drinks, and one, one that looks normal for Lester, since her orders are to make sure he got a normal drink, and they both, they're both kind of feeling it at this point, and they both start tossing them back, and
Oops.
oh, and things definitely come out. Personal kinks that I'm not going to detail in here because I don't want to kink shame.
No.
Just things that they might enjoy. Like one of them may or may not be enjoy being spanked with wet lederhosen and called a very bad boy, and it's probably not the one you think. Things of that nature. So Lester, I'm going to need you to give me a persuasion roll.
Get them
At
back on
-1
track.
to try and get them back on track.
With the -1, 15.
Wow.
Woo!
Loaded twice.
Nice. Very nice. So yeah, you quite deftly manage to steer them back every time they get off track or they start sniping at each other too much. You manage to steer them back to the fact that it takes a while to get there, but you find out both helpfully and unhelpfully that each of them has was given a case roughly big enough to hold the Heart of Thunder. Neither of them was told what was in the case, and neither of them can open the case, and each of them were instructed to guard the case with their life, keep it as secure as possible. The conductor has his case in the bank. The head of security has his case in the treasure cart, which is also where he's going to be staying when the train takes off. There's a little bed. There's in there for him. There's a bit of an armory, a small sort of kitchenette. It's more like half apartment, half like sleeper, half treasure car.
Well then, now that we have the information we need, let's just see how much these two really do dislike each other. As I riffle the cards. Well, I suppose Lady Luck would be on my side if I kept her garter up my sleeve now, wouldn't I, sir?
Are you saying that to the conductor?
To the security officer.
Oh.
Yes, I'm accusing him of cheating.
Even though he's been losing? Okay.
No, the conductor's been
is
losing.
the one. I thought you were keeping the conductor winning since he won last night.
Oh, yes, the other way around, yes.
Okay. So you're saying that the conductor. All right, just making
Yes.
sure. Yeah, and he looks baffled. He's like, cheat. I don't need to cheat. I'm just good. Like my tuba playing is good. I am naturally talented at a lot of things that people don't give me enough credit for.
Then how do you explain that card I'm seeing right there on your sleeve? And I'm going to reach into his sleeve and I'm going to summon a trinket. Just a random playing card. I need 2 power points.
Okay.
And I need to challenge a Manitou.
All right.
So how do you want me to do this, Marshall?
Let's go ahead and is that one of your powers?
Yes, trinkets is one of my powers. It allows me to summon a random playing card. I need 2 power points.
2 power points. All right, give me a smarts roll. At +2 because you're summoning something minor, and you've stroked the fires spiritually here.
+2, I got a 9.
All right, yep. That does it. You can feel the card just sort of appear between your fingers, where it obviously was not before.
And I will pull it out. What do you call this then, sir?
He just like and not only is the head of security, but one other person who had just joined your table 2 hands ago both stand up. And they're like, "You cheating son of a bitch!" And head of security is like, "How is that not just soaked in sweat? You fuck! Look at you!" And just
That's my
lunges
cue to
across
leave
the
the
table.
table.
And a brawl ensues. And even though this is a higher end establishment, people have been drinking and sort of enjoying the show. So everybody's blood is a little higher than normal, and things start to, as they say, break out. The head of security tosses the conductor, just physically tosses him into another table, which of course pisses the people at the table off. One of them, for no reason, because this always happens in Western fights, turns around and punches somebody at another table who had nothing to do with it. But that's all it takes to really just start a chain reaction of fists flying and cursing and alcohol flying and bottles breaking. Nobody swings on the chandelier. It's not that kind of fight.
Yeah.
But you see somebody try to miss and just kind of backflop on the floor.
I'll just mosey my way on out, and I'll let Honest John deal with that mess and the local sheriff. That should buy us a few more hours at least.
Definitely should. And security comes surging in as you mosey on out. They don't give you a second glance. Trying to break this up, but there's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of fighting, and while they want to break it up, these are also paying customers and kind of the higher end of the clientele. So they're trying to do it as discreetly and genteelly as possible. And Vixen has the popcorn. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Vixen, from your vantage point, you notice eventually the fight spill out the front doors. Like people just come, rolling and punching and kicking and biting and cursing and just the whole thing. You see one guy get, almost fish hooked, which if you don't know, that's where you hook 2 fingers into the cheek and yank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of brawling, and you give me a notice check.
I'm wanting to ask, when you roll for that, is it the dice that's attached to that ability and then a wild dice with it?
Yes, the dice that's attached to that ability, and the 1d6 is a wild die.
Okay.
And you take the better of those 2 rolls.
Wow. Something just hit the table that weighed like 12 pounds. I want that die. Something just
That
went.
That was my metallic die.
Oh.
Nice.
So that would be a 9.
All right, you definitely notice that the security detail around the trains notices what's happening, and instead of going to get involved, going to check and see if the head of security is involved, anything of the sort, they pull in around their 2 guard cars and the treasure cart and just sort of stand as a human barricade in case things get closer. It's very obvious that they have orders not to abandon the train and to post up on the treasure car if there's any sort of trouble.
Okay. Just gonna casually light my cigar and just watch the show.
All right.
Yeah.
And
That's a good thing to keep note.
And it's a show. Some deputies show up. They grab with buckets. They're throwing water on the combatants and just trying to get them to separate. Some of them stop fighting. Some of them just means it's more mud wrestling now.
Yeah. I think that only works with dogs. I know, but it's fun.
How often do you get to do that?
In my mind, because I'm viewing all of this like it's a movie, we now have King of the Hill theme music playing over the fight.
Yep. Yep. Good old fashioned Texas fist fight breaking out over here.
Yep. That's all happening there, and that's as the evening starts to progress. We're getting on towards dinner time, so that would be about the time. I imagine that our good friend Bang
Yes.
is going to do the things.
I wanted to during the day. I wanted to ride out until I found that trestle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got my Greek fire projector. It uses ghost rock oil, and I want to take a couple of those. And I mean, the nice thing with the ties on railway tracks is that they're extremely flammable because they're covered in tar to keep them
Yep.
from rotting. So I pour that like on the middle of the trestle, all the way across a couple of the ties, and then all the way down the rail and on the side of the trestle, all the way back in about maybe 100 feet before we actually get to the trestle along the side of the track. The idea being, I also, while I'm doing this, take 50 match heads and break off just the heads and put them in a little ball with a piece of sandpaper. So the idea is, if we get to this point on the track, I don't know what's going on in town, I light that, drop it in the fire runs up the track faster than the train, lights the trestle on fire ahead of us, and causes the train to stop.
Okay.
Then as a second thought, I thought that might not make them stop. They might go all the way through. So just to make sure, I take that thermite sort of grenade thing that I built that I was going to put on the engine, and I put that on one of the rails. So as soon as this lights up, one of the rails is also going to get cut.
Okay. All right. And
Then I
now
head back
just
into town.
my headcanon, since Ghost Rock itself, when it's lit, screams.
Yep.
I imagine Ghost Rock oil screams kind of like a Wookiee.
That's
That's just the way it's gonna be from now on.
Well, it makes perfect sense as it's going along the tracks, right, up and down on the between the rails. Yeah, I can't do that voice.
It
but
also
yeah.
makes sense because it sounds like it's gargling.
Yes. Yep. And
So that
that's
is now
and
canon
then
in the game.
yeah, and then back to town to expecting to still have to blow stuff up tonight. So.
Well, I didn't. Were you gonna check in with everybody before setting off your explosions?
Oh yeah, once I
or-
come back into town, yeah, I come back, and I'm assuming by then these guys are by dinner time we meet up again more or less.
Yeah, by dinner
Yeah.
time, things have the fight has finally broken down. That's all. They've gotten everybody taken care of. There aren't as many tables in the gambling area, at least as many whole ones and chairs, but the ones they do have been cleaned up and set out so some people can still gamble if they want. The broken glass has been cleaned up. There's dinner in the little side room ready for everybody. There's obviously some medical staff coming and going. There's a lot of people got kind of banged up or,
Yep.
hurled bodily through furniture, depending.
So I may have to change that. So I come back into town to that mayhem.
The very end of that mayhem.
Perfect. Before it calms down, instead of going to the hotel, I'm going to see how close I can get to the train, specifically to the WC. Or we can see how close I can get to the toilet.
You can get pretty close to the toilet because everybody, all the prime guards are the treasure house. The few remaining guards, they weren't supposed to be needed until the train took off. So there's like one or two kind of pacing back and forth.
I think I'm saving time. I haven't talked to these guys yet, so if I can, I'll break a window and drop one of my grenades. Light it so that you press one button, then it lights the ghost rock, and you press the other button, and it drops the water in on top of the burning ghost rock, and then the rest of the grenade is filled with pins. Drop that into, if I can, through a window into one of the holes, so that it's going to go off in the material.
So you want it to go off in one of the toilets?
Yes.
Okay, these haven't been used yet, though.
Nope.
You won't find that out until. All right, so what's gonna give me? That's gonna be an agility roll.
Okay.
I know that's one of the ones you actually have more than a point in.
Was that athletics or athletics throwing?
If you have throwing
Doesn't
athletics,
matter. I don't know why I'm even suggesting they're all sixes. So, 3. Nope.
all right. So you,
Oh.
I mean,
No, I take that back. We only got him for one night. I burned a blue chip to add a D6 to that. 6
okay.
total.
So I
There we
get
go.
another chip. So we're gonna
Use your
6.
chips. Use your chips. Use your chips.
Yep, don't forget to use them. And just because this whole thing amuses me, everybody like this whole situation has amused me. Everybody gets 1 white chip,
Oh, thank you.
1 bonus white chip. So we're gonna toss that out for everybody.
Good, because I'm about to do a bunch more stupid shit.
Yep. you drop it. How long is it going to take to go off?
It's
how far are you
basically
gonna
like
get
a
before-
grenade. It takes about 5-6 seconds.
Okay, so you drop it and
And then
scuttle
just
off, and
bolt. Yeah.
5 or 6 seconds later, there's just this very loud, somewhat contained boom,
Yes.
and the train car rocks rather violently, and there's some smoke comes up out of it. A couple more windows break.
Yep.
And the two like standard guards just come, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, just
Yeah.
busting ass down from where they were, because the elite guards aren't going to be called to task on this. They're doing what they're
Right.
supposed to.
That's what I wanted to see. Yeah. Do they come out of the carts at the back of the train to investigate this?
Nope, just
No.
like they did for the fight, they're staying posted up around their area, their 2 cars and the treasure car. They kind of look when they hear the explosion, but they do not notice you.
Muttered to myself, huh. I figured they put it in the shitter. Oh well, let's go find this bank. As far as
You were
I'm
really
concerned,
set
I'm on
on me
task.
having thrown that, like hidden that in the bathroom.
Yep. I had that thought last week and it was not going away, so I had to find out.
Yep. There you go. So now, are you meeting up with everybody, or just going to set your explosives?
No, we were supposed to get. I got talked into having both explosions at the same time, so we could see where people ran. So yeah, I'm going to use this distraction to skirt the town. I mean, it's going to take me a while, but to skirt around unseen to get behind the bank, where I set off another explosion behind the bank, unless somebody stops me. I'm helping.
I try to notice. Bang.
Like, are you two hanging out watching the bank, or did you two like go back?
No, Elizabeth at least would have gone back to the hotel.
Okay. Would Edward have stayed to just kind of keep an eye on things?
I mean, realistically, I'm just kind of looking for plants at this point, because there's like, I mean, I guess people are going to be back this evening.
That was kind
So
of
that's
the
why I was
plan,
like,
right?
okay,
So,
I might notice Bang running by or trying to be sneaky.
yeah, you probably you see Bang. He's kind of distinctive.
Yeah.
Once you've met him, so you see Bang like just zip past you while you're looking at. They've got some potted plants and some weeds poking up out of corners, and some of them are a little odd because, like I said, there's a ghost rock mine at least relatively nearby, so that dust is getting places and getting in the water.
As you see him run by, you see him screwing a number of pieces of metal tubing together.
I will, unless he outruns me, I will attempt to kind of follow him to the bank, because I'm figuring that's where he's going.
Yep.
All right,
We
yep.
both got pace 6, right? I think.
Yeah, you've got the same
That's
pace.
true,
So
yeah.
yep, I think the only one who might not have that is Vixen because of the leg.
I chose this.
You
Yeah.
did. Yep. No, I'm not throwing shade. I was just like, it's just the one. All right, so you follow him.
So
at
yeah,
a bit
from
of a
about a block
distance.
away, because this has got a range. I shoot the angry rocket at the back of the bank. It does.
Oh.
If I hit the building, it does 2d6 damage.
All right, give me a shooting.
Shooting a d6 and another d6.
Give me double ones, baby. Come on.
No, it's only a 3, but I'm burning another white chip because you gave them to us.
Okay.
So
I did.
that's what they're
So,
for. And you can only do one of each type each round, and you have to do them in order, right? White, red, blue, if I remember correctly. Anyway.
I'm just saying you can do it in whatever order you
All right.
want. If you got the tips, if you want to just go straight to red or blue, you can do that. That's
4. I
4,
think
okay.
once you've done a red or a blue, you can't do a white, I think.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is the case, but you can jump straight to blue or red or whatever if you're just like going ham. All
Yeah.
right, so there's a moment, Edward, you see a moment where he just jitters and it looks like that rocket may go anywhere except the back of the bank. But at the last moment, he's like, "Oh shit!"
There it is.
Slams down and just boom. So give me the damage roll.
10 points of damage to the back of the bank from an exploding ammunition round.
Okay.
Is the bank gone full boom because we
Yes, yeah.
exploded.
Where did I shoot the
explosives in there?
bank? Did I shoot the bank in its explosive heart?
Did you hit the explosive lockbox? Bang.
Oh, so, well, yeah. My shot hits your shot. Your shot goes off and lights the crystal heart on fire. We failed the mission, and this turns into a 2-shot.
You lose half a ton, but yeah.
Oopsie.
Not quite. I'm going to. You know what? Just because it's
Saved him
Edward's
from
thing.
me.
Edward, even or odd?
Oh. We're gonna go with odds.
Go with odds. All right. So,
No.
bang shot
Yeah.
cracks into the back of the bank quite heavily. Bigger
Yeah.
bang than possibly even he was expecting. And it's getting dark, but daylight is not entirely gone. And the explosion is big and hard enough
Yeah.
that not only does it blast through the back wall, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
a thin layer of metal in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole thing wasn't plated, but a thin layer of metal to make it, somebody's not just going to hack through with an axe real quick, but just enough to crack the backs of several safety deposit boxes, because those are at the back of the bank, slightly less vulnerable than the easy to port cash. Now, unbeknownst to Bang, of course, this allows light into a specific lockbox that was stressed. Don't let light get in here. And for a moment, nothing happens. There's the explosion and that sort of calm that happens after explosions. And then, Bang, you hear a familiar and yet oddly organic sounding sort of... And flames just jet out of the back of one of those lockboxes. Just...
Yeah, the look is just like, that's not one of mine.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
and
exactly, CO. So kind of looking at it like, you don't do 2 explosions. What the hell? Yeah.
Oh fuck. All right.
Yeah.
And very quickly, the metal starts to heat. The metal heats fast. It was already heated from the explosion. It's heated more now from this intense internal combustion. Something else in one of the other lockboxes must have been a little gunpowdery.
Okay.
Because another lockbox nearby makes a few cracks, pops, and then also explodes.
But it doesn't
Outward.
smell like ghost rock, right?
No, it smells like gunpowder.
Okay.
And you know what?
Can I have some Vixen?
Very, very nice. Bang, give me an agility roll.
Okay. I
Straight
don't do that
agility
very well
save.
either. I don't do anything well. Just a straight agility roll?
Yeah.
Well, actually, no,
become
pardon
a
me. I'm
Mel
actually
Brooks
not bad at
listener.
that. An 8, a D8. And I get my magic or my wild die on this as well?
Yep, wild die as well.
This 3s. I got 1 left. The last white one. Last chip of the night is gone.
All right.
So roll a D6 and add it to that 3. Oh, and it's a 6. They don't explode though, so 9.
Nope. Okay, so you once again, Edward, you're watching this whole thing, I assume, unless you take off. You see obviously it's your plants. You know that hissing sound. You know the smell of the smoke that cuts through even the ghost rock explosion. And then you hear what sounds like gunfire, and then see Bang scrambling madly away as bullets that were in an antique gun in one of the lockboxes begin to cook off and just ricochet off into the night.
Crap. Just hands and palms and feet as I'm just backing up down the hall, down the alley at high speed, trying not to
Crab
get the lid
running
on fire.
just,
Yep.
oh God.
Yep.
All right. And shortly after, of course, fire brigade shows up, such as it is. A bucket chain forms, and the very beaten up and woozy conductor comes just hauling ass up the way to the bank vault, like shoulders and pushes and yells his way into the vault.
Mm-hmm.
You hear some cursing, possibly the sound of sizzling flesh, and then you see him and some screaming, of course, and then you see him coming out, cradling in in hands that look like they grabbed a stupidly hot lockbox.
Yep.
And jammed the key in, opened it, and grabbed something out of it. See him cradling this box against his chest, and like starting to stagger his way away from all of this. Now, anybody watching it, I do a lot of these, including Vixen, from your vantage point.
Yes.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah.
Go to the lobby.
I've been waiting
And
for the
give
last
me
like
a
4
notice
sentences to
roll.
hear. Yeah. I've been waiting for 4 rounds to hear Vixen say, shoot him.
Ooh, shoot,
I've been waiting
bang?
for 2 weeks.
Or shoot who? The guy
Uh,
cradling the thing?
The guy running back to he's running back towards the train with it, you said?
Yeah, he's heading back at least towards either towards the train or towards the hotel. They're both in the same direction.
Yeah, I completely lose any sort of sense of decency. I'm following him. Like the drug dealer like what he
Okay,
is to
so
me. He's my drug dealer leaving the room with all the drugs, so I'm gone.
You, Vixen, and Edward all give me notice rolls at -2.
Ooh.
-2.
Unless it's drug related or unless it's about the ghost rock thing itself, I'm not going to make the roll because I'm totally fixated.
Okay, well, you can just consider to fail
It's
it.
a fail, yeah. I'm only looking at one thing.
So that would be a 4.
I also got a 4.
Okay, so you both, it takes you a minute to notice, but you both notice there's something or someone shadowing him. It could be a bodyguard, could be somebody else looking to rob him. It's hard to really make it out, especially now that night is starting to fall and you're moving away from the flames and everything. But there's somebody keeping to the alleys and whatnot, keeping to the shadows, that is kind of sticking with him and keeping an eye on him.
And it's not Bang.
And it's not Bang. Bang is, you can tell Bang. Bang is
I'm
just
beelining it. Yeah, I'm beelining it, and I'm in my Bang clothes again, so it's not even the suit. It's like the high collar and the whole stink and the smell is coming back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can find the person that's in the alleys, and I'm going to take out my gun and start aiming for him just in case.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of keep an overwatch in case they make a move.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Nothing happens on the way back unless one of you tries to jump him. Barring that, as soon as he gets back to the hotel, the shadowy figure sort of peels off, heads off down an alley and is out of sight. While they're following this, and while this chaos, which is different from the chaos you two caused, Lester and Elizabeth, while they're doing that, you are summoned to the room for dinner. Somebody comes to say, "Hey, come on in." And when you walk in, as soon as the doors close behind you, Honest John is already seated there with an empty plate. Looks like he didn't wait. And he slides you 2 brand new looking keys. He goes, that was quite a distraction you caused there. And it seems in that kerfuffle for a little while, some keys were misplaced. And of course they were eventually returned. They were found, but strangest thing, I also happen to have found these.
Well, then, looks like so far, other than a minor kerfuffle at the bank, looks like everything is going according to plan.
It does indeed.
Bang. Was it your intent to try to burn the bank down?
Well, hang on a second, because I'm following that guy. Where's he going?
He comes back to the hotel.
Okay. Does he go
and-
upstairs, like to the room?
Yeah, he goes up to his room, and there
Right
is
behind him.
security. There's one of those big, gorillas in a suit
Yeah.
up there. Is just like, excuse me, sir.
Standing. Okay.
Like he has a guard on his door.
Yeah. Okay. So when we get to the top of the stairs and I see the guard in the distance, I panic and just yell, "Hey, hey, hey!" and hope he turns around.
He does. He's like, well,
I,
he's battered. He looks
Yeah.
like he was been used as a human punching bag. His hands are burned. There's soot on his face.
Perfect. I'm standing in front of him looking like hell burned over. I pull out the ball of match heads, bang it against my leg, which lights it on fire, and throw it right at his chest. I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just trying to get him to drop what he's got.
And he just obviously he
Oh
freaks
my
out
God.
and like with his already burned hands bobbles the match
Yes.
heads and
Yes.
drops the box. And
Yep.
the security guard sees this and starts lumbering down the way.
Oh, grab the box and gone as hard, just like to the wilderness. If like just not stopping until somebody kills me. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're running. You hit a patch of shadows, and you find yourself in the room, running full tilt still,
Yeah.
and you slam into a chair before you can stop yourself.
Oh.
And Oneshot looks down and says, "Huh." And that's where we're going to drop the curtain.
Holy shit.
I knew that goddamn quarter was magic. Oh wow. Kyle, go ahead and do the regular outs, and then I'm going to do the thank yous in the finals. So, take us to that
All
if you
right,
wouldn't mind.
I want to thank everybody for joining us for another session, double digits again. That's always
Yep.
nice to see. I hope you were all as entertained as we were. I definitely had fun. I hope everybody else had fun. I already can't wait for next week. Definitely want to thank Kevin for not only playing but producing and possibly causing the most chaos with the least amount of effort. But it was a close. It was pretty close. Definitely want to thank Vixen for keeping things interesting and busting out the popcorn to really illustrate the moments that everybody enjoyed watching. I want to thank Lester for starting one hell of a fight and aiding
Yeah.
in the truth serum poisoning of the targets. I'd like to thank Elizabeth for providing the truth serum, but not directions on how to use it. And
Yeah.
Edward for providing just exactly what we needed, apparently, which was fuel for the bank fire.
Oh, yeah.
As well as, making sure that at least Elizabeth gave them the right potion to poison them with.
Yeah. You're bad for all the wrong reasons or all the right reasons.
All the right
Oh
reasons,
shit.
so.
Oh, I want to add a round of thank yous to that. Elizabeth and Edward as characters, Sarah and Nick. I know you guys worked a little bit on this, but I absolutely 100% bought that you were twins and that you were like 2 minutes older, and you've never ever in your entire life ever let him forget that for more than 2 seconds. And I absolutely exactly you guys fought exactly like siblings, like that you wouldn't let anybody else say that to you in the whole world. You'd just light them on fire or poison them or whatever it is that you do, but because it's your brother and your sister, it's like, oh, again, fine, right? I love it. It's the player or the characters that knew each other before the game started is underused, and it is an awesome trope for a reason, because it works. Thank the two of you for that. It's not easy to do. And I don't know if it was on purpose or just because it happened. But Edward, I put it in chat tonight, Nick. The longer Edward spent with Elizabeth, the more southern your accent became. So it was like you'd been hiding it out in the world. You came back to spend 2 minutes talking to your sister, and it's like, oh, shucks, I'm 9 again. So it was stunning. Really well done.
It's a lot like I get with the Wisconsin accent up there. I grew up there, and it's not really there anymore. But when I visit family or some such, then it's
all
right,
those
right there
THs
again.
go away.
Up, up north.
Just do that with a D.
Yeah,
Yes.
you hoser.
Oh. All right. Thank you. Lester, Shadow. You're the real Wild West, right? In my head, Lester's this. As much as you are the magic user in the group, you're the one that to me plays closest to that Western cowboy trope, right? The
Yep.
gambler who drinks and does all that stuff, but he's always on the hustle too. That's that American dream, right? You don't win unless you try hard. So I love seeing that sort of traditional high-end cowboy in this weird world, especially as a caster, as
The
Hoyle's
hustler.
Book of Games enthusiast. So thank you for that. Oh, Hellhounds, you have the patience of that rock behind you in your picture. Not only did you spend 99% of the night just going, I'll wait, I'll wait, I'll wait. This isn't the first time you've done that, and you've never grumbled, and you just bring out your popcorn and your pop, and you just enjoy the night. And I appreciate that more than you can even imagine. It is so nice. As somebody who also GMs, it's so nice knowing that you're not going to get a PM afterwards that says, "You left me alone all night, you prick." And I'm sure that you will have your moments coming in the future, but I appreciate the fact that you didn't have a huge moment tonight, but you still stayed engaged for the whole night and stayed in chat and banned people and did all that wonderful stuff. So thank you for that very, very much.
I appreciate that too. I honestly thought you'd be shooting people by now, but yeah, they're going a
Not
road
yet,
less
nope.
traveled by.
No, that's Vixen in my head is Clint Eastwood times 10, right? When the gun finally comes out, this is all going to end in one loud report, right? So you're the problem. Pop, problem solved. Can we go now? Like I see that, like the person of few words and even fewer actions, right? I'm really hoping to see that one catastrophically effective moment.
Although with the rifle and the long range, I don't know if everybody's seen it, but I get a Quigley Down Under vibe.
Yes,
Just waiting, posting it up. I love that movie.
The 1,200 yard shot or whatever it was supposed to be. Yeah. But I saved another thank you for last because Kyle, this is cats, man. I mean, I heard these cats. So I know how tough it can be, and I'm like maybe a Manx cat. I'm a bit of an ass because I don't get to play very often. So I appreciate you not just putting up with my foolishness, but saying yes to a lot of it, and then making it so that none of it broke the game, which is, as far as I'm concerned, perfect GMing, perfect marshaling. You let me do all the silly shit I want, but didn't let me break the game. It's beautiful. So thank you for that.
I've been GMing, like I said, it's been a while, but I've been GMing roughly 30 years since I was 10, 11, somewhere in there. So I have had gremlins of, like, I started, for those who don't know, I bought a original Dungeons and Dragons, incomplete original Dungeons and Dragons box set at a garage sale. When I was 10 and just badgered all of my friends into playing until they agreed to do so, just so I would stop.
Wow.
And I was hooked. So I'm cat gremlins of all sorts. I'm used to it. And I love it. I don't want, a bunch of people just sitting there just being surly. And I want chaos and I want wild ideas and things that everybody enjoys.
You are definitely not part of the don't have fun at my table gaming groups. I've never understood that. It's not about having fun. Then why the fuck are you here?
To crush your spirits and win.
Yes. Yeah, because I want to win D&D. Yeah, go play World of Warcraft or something. I don't know. Can you win that? Probably not. Anyway, there's 2 thank yous left. I want to thank you, chat. You guys, as always, are amazing. Fun. You're engaged. You play the game with us. The jokes are great, but they always run alongside the story, right? It's beautiful. It's really well done. It's a bunch of friends watching a bunch of friends play a game, and that is my dream come true. It's why I started this channel. So thank you for that. For the folks that couldn't get here to live, that's what the VOD is for. And for the folks that couldn't catch the VOD, that's what YouTube is for. If you're watching it on YouTube, please hit the like button. And please, even more importantly, hit that silly bell, because I'll be honest, I use it as backup. It's not really a format that I'm using to try and get views on. So I'll post 3 or 4 things in a day and then nothing for a week. So the only way you get to keep up is to hit that notification bell. And then good luck, because it's a binge watch every damn time I do it. So but with those out of the way. Oh, thank you. It was a joy to play. It was a joy to be here. But with that, unless anybody else has anything to add. Oh,
Y'all stay safe and stay well out there. And thanks for watching.
absolutely. Until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Right.
Hi, y'all.
First